Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to our Behind Her Brand Monday Morning Brew. I hope you got your favorite beverage. I got mine here, my Rise and Shine. And I'm excited for this message this morning. It is going to be hopefully just a good reminder. And I also want a lot of your feedback because I want to ask you guys a couple of questions as it relates to what we're going to share very quickly. But I hope and pray that you had an amazing weekend. Our family definitely had a very fun weekend. Lots and lots to get together. It felt like that's all we did this whole weekend. But it was such a good reminder of community. You know, Friday night started off with our block party where people were cooking hamburgers, hot dogs, and kids were having fun in the streets and candy. And it was just neighbors catching up about, we haven't seen you in a few weeks. What's going on? It was such a beautiful time. And then I had a couple of friends who had get-togethers at their homes we went to, and it was just a good reminder of just connecting again. So it kind of set a great tone for me for this week. But for our brew this morning, okay, so I wanted to actually, I saw this right here. You can end the story. It's one of my favorite quotes on the wall because it's such a reminder of what we can do. But here's what I want to kick off this brew with asking you. Do you remember some of the toughest seasons in your life and the things that you had to go through to get through that season? First question. And the second question is, when you think about those seasons of your life, do you ever reflect on the person that you were then and the person that you become now? And here's why I wanted to ask those two questions in the beginning. Jot down your comments below because we're in a season now where we're entering into fall, right? And this is a time where there is a lot more slowing down, a lot more evaluating, a lot more assessing, and all the things. But it's also for so many people a season of ramping up in different areas of their life. And what it made me think about was how often we do not give ourselves, okay, credit for the things that we have walked through this year, things that you have faced, things that you have challenged, things that you have said, you know what, this season is done. This season is over. I'm walking into a new season. Sometimes we forget the resilience that was birthed this year. We forget the faith that it costs us to keep pushing through, even when our situations didn't look right. Sometimes we forget the different things that have made you who you are today. And the reason why I wanted to bring that up is that I find so often that if you don't pause and really think about what has literally crafted you, what has helped build you, what has helped allowed you to be who you are today, you can miss some of the biggest learning moments that God has been trying to show you. Like when I said, you can end the story, that to me is a constant reminder that no matter what comes my way, no matter what I'm faced with, no matter what I have to walk through, no matter what I have to work through, I can, period. And yes, I can with God. I can with my spouse. I can with my family. But at the end of the day, I have to first make that decision that I can do this. I can get through this. I don't have to allow these stories here that used to play in my mind stop me from building and going forward. And so I think it's important sometimes to hit pause, to hit a moment to say, man, I did go through that. I know there's people now that have reached out to me that have decided to leave their careers and say, you know what, it's time for me to step into what I'm called to do. I've seen people leave relationships that were long out of season, but they made a decision saying, I can do that. I've seen people finally say, you know what, I'm going to write that first chapter. I'm going to write that first book. I'm going to launch at my more episodes of my podcast in a bigger and broader way. I'm going to be more bold in this because when you remember the history of what you have survived and what you have thrived through, you'll find that you'll be able to walk into new seasons with such a level of confidence that you sometimes may forget that you actually have. And so when you think about this, and I'm going to give you some examples here, faithfully remind yourself of who you have been designed and crafted by God. Remember everything He's brought you through. Remember everything you have survived, everything that you've thrived through. And so I put here There are moments when life hits harder than expected, when the plans you had unravels, and the path you thought was clear suddenly feels uncertain. But here's the truth: you've already overcome more than you give yourself credit for. You survived heartbreak, disappointment, failure, and seasons you didn't think you would make it through. I know I have, and I'm sure many of you guys watching have as well. And yet here you are, still standing, still pushing, still believing. That's not weakness, that's resilience, that's strength, that's proof that you can. Okay. And I put on here too, because I know this hits true for many of you guys who do hop on the brew. You can begin after loss, and loss doesn't always mean death. Sometimes it means the end of um, a season of your life. Sometimes it can be end of a relationship. Sometimes it can be an end of a project that you so love, but now you got to enter into something new. Loss is anything, obviously, that you know that season has completed. You can begin again. You can rebuild when everything falls apart. You can heal from whatever you never thought you'd recover from. You can step into rooms you once thought were too big for you, because you do belong there, right? You can speak up, you can show up, and you can stand tall in your truth. You can be both a masterpiece and a work in progress at the same time. The world may try to convince you that it's too late. We already know it's not, that too much time has passed or you missed your moment, but timing belongs to God. It belongs to Him, and He's not in a rush. Oftentimes we're trying to rush. We're trying to get to a place. We're like, God, I am this age, and I only got so much time for this and the other. And God is like, I control time. So why are you rushing? I'm not rushing. Just trust the timing that I have of your life. Timing belongs to God, and He's not in a rush. Every detour, delay, and disappointment was preparing you for this very chapter. Always remember, you're not behind, you're being positioned. So when doubt creeps in, and silence it with the truth. Remind yourself of, I always call this a good old faithful scripture, Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And when you really think about that and just stop with that, I can do all things through Him who gives me strength, which means that there's nothing that you're going to create, walk into, build, that through Him you can't do. When you really think about that and sit with that, and also reflect on what you've already been through, saying, I can do all things. I can survive hurt. I can survive disappointment. I can survive slander. I can survive people hurting me. I can survive my own thoughts. I can survive all these different things because He gives me strength. But He also reminds you of who you are, right? So remember that. So don't let anything write your story that is not of Him. Don't let insecurity take your pen, right? You have the power to begin again right here, right now. And as I said on my wall, you can't, end of story. And so I would love to, um, if you're comfortable, share what you are truly doing in this season. And maybe you're like, you know what, Kim, I know that I can do XYZ. I know that I can birth this. I know that I can walk anew. Write that below. I would love to hear some of your you can, end of story moments. And the reason, like, I'm going to end on this today. It's going to be a little short and sweet. But the reason why I wanted to also bring this up is this. Sometimes it is so important in the quietness of your space, whether your home, car, whatever it might be, is to celebrate those moments where you chose to move forward, even when everything within you, and maybe some things outside of you, told you that you couldn't. Sometimes it's good to say, man, I'm so proud of what I've done, and just be in that moment. There are many times where I'll do that, where I'm like, I'm so proud that every Monday I show up, even if I don't always feel 100%, even if I'm like, man, is this even making a difference? Do people even really care? And I show up every single Monday that I can. And I feel proud of myself for doing that, because I know that this is stretching me beyond my comfort zone. If I had my way, y'all, I've said this before, I would do everything behind the scenes, and I'm very comfortable behind the scenes. Y'all, I have a whole pillow blanket. I'm comfortable behind the scenes, but I'm grateful for the moments that I choose to step out. I'm grateful for the moments that I'm saying, I'm not going to allow all these different things play in my head. I'm grateful for the times where when old insecurities rise up, when I do anything public, whether it's on video or in front of people, I always celebrate the moments that I'm like, I silenced the enemy today. When he says you talk too fast, you may stutter, or they may not like your hair, they may not like this. Oh, you picked up some weight. Did all the different things that he does say to me, or who cares what you have to say? Nobody wants to hear you talk today. This doesn't make a difference. You're not doing, y'all. When I tell you, he is a chatterbox, and he loves to try to play into insecurities that he knows that at one season of my life I battled with. And why I love you can end the story. There are many times I have to say to him, oh, I can't do this. I'm going to speak. You are not going to speak this in my ear. I'm not going to believe this. I am not going to walk in this. You're telling a lie. Not true. There's many times that I had to do that. And that's why I asked in the beginning, remembering your stories of surviving and thriving. Remember what he's brought you through. Remembering all these different things, because when those moments come, you can say, oh no, I can. Thank you. Goodbye. And that just strengthens you every time you do that. And I celebrate. And when I say I celebrate in so many different ways, I just think, like, thank you for giving me the strength, because I can do all things through you that gives me strength. Thank you that every morning I can rise and I can also shine. This is a choice. I can choose to shine. I can choose to show up and say, today, I'm going to make an impact in whatever way you have me to make an impact today, God. This is a choice. And so I just want to encourage you today to remember that you can, in the story, you can silence anything that speaks against your you can, right? And would love to hear some of your comments and thoughts about that. And as we get ready to go into fall, hold that close. Hold that close. That you can. You can. Every single thing that is dropped into you, every single thing that you have gone through, every single thing that you've thrived through is a constant reminder that you can end the story. All right, ladies, have an amazing day. Have a blessed day. And as always, thank you for showing up and watching these. I'm so grateful for people that are sharing them and tagging people, all the different things that happens. I am beyond grateful, and I thank you guys for just your support. All right, y'all take care and have an amazing week.